Chapter 22 Why is it you again? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, Mouse's family was extremely wealthy in his early years, but his father became addicted to gambling, lost all the family property and ran away. The debt collectors took away the house and drove the mother and son out onto the street. In the end, Chi came forward to help Mouse pay off his gambling debt, and even arranged a place for the mother and son to stay, so they could tide over the difficulties. Therefore, except for his mother, Mouse regards Ji Wufeng's family as his closest relatives, and he does not allow anyone to harm Ji Wufeng. Lu Jingfeng's face suddenly turned cold and he said to Xiaojia, "It seems like your neighbor who delivers food is quite crazy. A Feng, don't be acquainted with him, I will drive him away immediately." Xiaojia's face changed drastically. She walked up to Mouse and said angrily, "I told you to leave, don't embarrass me here." Mouse's cheeks twitched. He took out the necklace he bought from his pocket, and said with a forced smile, "Xiaojia, what I want to say is that I have always liked you. This is my gift to you. Happy birthday to you." Snapped. Xiaojia slapped the necklace in Mouse's hand to the ground, and said coldly, "Are you blind? I already have a boyfriend, and you still give me gifts, get out of here." The Mouse bent down and picked up the necklace from the ground, turned around and left with an indifferent expression. At this moment, he was heartbroken. Ji Wufeng was furious, walked towards Xiaojia and said coldly, "Rat didn't go to class today, but went to deliver takeout all day long, just to buy you a birthday gift." Xiaojia glared and said, "I have a boyfriend who bought me a gift. Do you need him to buy a piece of junk to show his courtesy? Get out of here." Ji Wufeng sighed. The person who hurt him the most is always the person he cares about the most. The human heart is really terrible. He shook his head and planned to leave with the Mouse. "Stop!" Lu Jingfeng shouted coldly, stood in front of the Mouse, and said with a ferocious laugh, "Did I tell you to leave?" Snapped. Suddenly he raised his palm and slapped the Mouse hard on the face. He snorted coldly and said, "No one has ever dared to talk to me like this. Next time, remember it better and get out." The whole place fell into silence, and then there was a burst of laughter. "Ha ha ha, this is what happens when you offend Master Feng. Oh, it's just that a big mouth gives him too much advantage. Young Master Feng is an adult and I don't want to be in the same league as him." Buzz. Ji Wufeng was completely unprepared for Lu Jingfeng to slap the rat in public, and a wave of anger rushed from the soles of his feet to his forehead. Boom. Ji Wufeng rushed over with a single lunge, and then kicked Lu Jingfeng out. Blood spurted from his mouth and he flew out. He hit the wall hard and rolled several times after landing. He couldn't get up for a long time. The whole audience suddenly exclaimed. Unexpectedly, Ji Wufeng would dare to hit someone. With the Ji family's current situation, offending Lu Jingfeng would definitely not end well. Master Feng. A Feng. Everyone rushed over, helped Lu Jingfeng up, and said angrily, "You are so brave, you dare to hit Master Feng, do you want to die?" However, Ji Wufeng strode towards Lu Jingfeng, his wild aura burst out, and the people around Lu Jingfeng were horrified and stepped aside unconsciously. "You bastard, how dare you hit me?" Lu Jingfeng's expression was like a mad dog. Ji Wufeng's eyes were cold and he said, "Not only do I want to beat you, I also want to humiliate you today." After saying that, he grabbed Lu Jingfeng's collar and lifted him up. He opened his palm and lifted him up. A big mouth twitched over. Bang bang bang. Ji Wufeng slapped the loudmouth for more than a dozen times in a row before he finally stopped. At this time, Lu Jingfeng's face turned into a pig's head. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. There were also a few disgusting yellow teeth in it. He probably needed to be ventilated when he spoke in the future. "Let's go." Ji Wufeng said to Mouse. A glimmer of light finally appeared in Mouse's gloomy eyes, and he said, "Boss, thank you." Ji Wufeng held his shoulder and said, "Two brothers in one generation, do you need to say thank you to me?" At this time, Lu Jingfeng finally got up from the ground and shouted with a ferocious face, "I want you to die today, I want you to die." After saying that, he took out his phone and said, "Master Hang, I was beaten in Chunfengdai building. Hearing Lu Jingfeng's address on the other end of the phone, someone's expression immediately changed and he said, "Young Master Heng, is this Qi Heng from the Qi family?" "Of course it's him, Master Feng is Master Heng's brother. If Master Heng takes action, these two boys will be finished." The Qi family is the leader of the rivers and lakes in Hunan and Lulu. Who knows the name of young Master Qi Heng in Hunan and Lulu? After Lu Jingfeng hung up the phone, he said with a vicious smile, "Bastard, it's useless even if you leave here today, you just wait to be hunted down. Indeed, if a monk can escape, he cannot escape from the temple. Unless he leaves Yulyo immediately and escapes the Qi family's sphere of influence, he will not be able to escape at all." Mouse immediately panicked and said to Ji Wufeng, "Boss, please leave quickly. I'll stay here." Ji Wufeng was speechless for a while. He didn't expect to meet his disciple again so soon. He sat directly next to him, on the chair. He glanced at Xiaojia and said, "I want to see what Qi Heng can do to me when he comes." Today he was going to pay back all the humiliation the mouse had suffered. "Boss, you." The mouse jumped up and down anxiously, but Ji Wufeng just sat there with no intention of leaving. Just when he was about to persuade Ji Wufeng to leave, the door was kicked open, and a sickly young man rushed in with a dozen fierce and strong men. In fact, Qi Heng was also eating at Chunfeng Diela. Today he took someone to teach Ji Wufeng a lesson, but was severely punished. So he found Qi Teng and hoped that Qi Teng would help him. After knowing the cause and effect, Qi Teng not only refused to help him, but also scolded him severely, saying that if he caused trouble again, he would break his legs. Frustrated, Qi Heng came to Chunfeng Diela and planned to have a good meal to calm down his shock. But before the food was served, Lu Jingfeng called. Anyway, he was holding back a lot of anger and it would be a good idea to find someone to vent his anger on. Seeing Qi Heng come in, Lu Jingfeng immediately ran over, pointed at Ji Wufeng and shouted, "Young Master Heng, that's him. He hit me, and I said your name, and he scolded you." It's so insidious that he actually said that Ji Wufeng scolded Qi Heng and was deliberately trying to kill him. Everyone was gloating about his misfortune. Qi Heng was a member of the martial arts world and was cruel and merciless. Ji Wufeng would be crippled even if he didn't die today. Mouse took a step forward and said, "Young Master Heng, it's none of my boss's business. Just come at me if you have anything. I'll take care of it. Whoever I, Qi Heng, want to deal with, do you have any say in it?" Qi Heng turned to look at Ji Wufeng with fierce eyes, and suddenly took a step back as if he had stepped on his tail and screamed, "Damn, why is it you again?" Chapter 85 Incredible Skills. You are listening at ModernDay. Seeing that Sun Bai was going to be defeated without a fight, Sun Sisi thought unconvinced and said, Why not compete? He must be a blind cat who encountered a dead mouse. Learning medicine requires not only talent, but also the accumulation of experience. He couldn't believe that at such a young age, Ji Wufeng's medical skills were already superior to those of Sun Bai. Ji Wufeng also nodded and said, "Yes, why not compare? If I don't get rewarded for my merits, how can I have the nerve to empty out the pharmacy in Fuan Hall?" "What? Are you going to vacate the pharmacy in Fuan Hall?" Sun Sisai stared. Ji Wufeng curled his lips and said, "Your grandfather has already said that if he loses, I can take whatever the Sun family has. Do you have any objections to emptying Fuan Hall?" "You." Sun Sisi was shaking with anger. "Ha ha ha." Sun Bai suddenly swept away his decadence and laughed, saying, "My little brother is right. Although I am old, I am not ready to do such a useless thing as surrendering without a fight. What's more, I also want to see my little brother's superb medical skills. Okay, let's get started." Ji Wufeng said, "The rules of the competition are very simple, that is, 2 people treat the patient at the same time, and the one with the most obvious treatment effect wins." The venue for the competition was in the lobby of Fuan Hall. As everyone walked out of the living room, the onlookers outside the gate immediately gathered around them. Sun Bai arranged for Sun Hui to bring in a patient, but this patient was sitting in a wheelchair. His spinal cord was damaged due to a fall, which has affected his ability to move. If it continues to deteriorate, he will be paralyzed. It was obvious that this patient was arranged to compete in acupuncture skills, and it was also Sun Baiyan's specialty. Sun Baibai said to Ji Wufeng, "Little brother, acupuncture is the medical skill I am most confident in. There is no need to win 2 out of 3 rounds. Let's just win or lose in 1 round." "No problem." Sun Baibai walked to the patient and took out the sterilized silver needle. Although he was old, the movements of his hand were extremely fast and powerful. Everyone saw his fingers flashing and the silver needle pierced the patient. Among the acupuncture points, everyone onlookers were amazed, and even Ji Wufeng nodded slightly. Sun Baibai's needle placement was extremely accurate, and his force was extremely stable, which had a very obvious effect on stimulating the meridians and acupuncture points. After a short time, the acupuncture was completed. The patient moved his body and exclaimed in surprise, "I feel so relaxed. It seemed that my whole body was blocked before, but now it feels like everything has been opened up and I can move and walk." He wanted to stand up from the wheelchair, but Sun Baibai stopped him and said, "Don't be impatient. Your condition is very serious. You will need at least 3 acupuncture sessions before you can stand up." The patient was overjoyed and said, "Miracle doctor, really a miracle doctor, thank you so much, Mr. Sun." Sun Baibai looked at Ji Wufeng and said, "It's your turn, little brother." Ji Wufeng walked towards the patient, but the patient waved his hand and said, "Forget it, just let Mr. Sun help me heal." "What if you prick me?" "Don't worry, my stitching skills are better than his." Ji Wufeng said. Upon hearing this, Sun Sisi was furious and said, "Don't be too arrogant." Ji Wufeng chuckled and said, "Why don't we make another bet? If my acupuncture skills are worse than your grandfather's, you will kneel down and worship me as your teacher. Just go ahead and daydream. If you are really better than my grandfather, I can be your grandson, let alone your apprentice. But can you do that?" Sun Sisi stared. "You'll know if it works or not. We'll make an agreement." Ji Wufeng didn't wait for the patient's consent, and pulled out all the needles on his body in one go, and then quickly inserted them back in. Except for adding a needle in an inconspicuous place, the rest of the positions were almost the same as those of Sun Baibai. The location of the stab was exactly the same as before. "I'm ready." Ji Wufeng said. Everyone was stunned. "Is this okay?" But his attitude was like putting candles on a birthday cake. He was just trying to fool people. Even if you are trying to fool people, you have to put some thought into it. The insertion position is exactly the same as Sun Baibai's. You are obviously afraid that you will injure the patient by inserting the needle randomly. Is there anyone as shameless as you? Bah, I thought you were so capable, but it turns out you are a liar. What a bastard. You actually cheated Mr. Sun by cheating and abducting him. Where's my knife? I want to chop this bastard. The crowd was angry, thinking that Ji Wufeng didn't understand acupuncture at all and was clearly just messing around. Sun Sisi jumped up even more, pointed at Ji Wufeng and said sternly, "What a shameless person, get out of Fuan Hall immediately, or I will call the police and arrest you immediately." Ji Wufeng was too lazy to pay attention to him. Instead, he looked at Sun Baiyan and others and said with a smile, "It doesn't matter whether I want to get out or not. There are referees here." Yang Songbai and Zhou Yuanqing didn't react much, but Sun Baibai's eyes widened and he was extremely excited. "I didn't expect that I would see such a miraculous acupuncture technique in my lifetime. I didn't lose unjustly." After being excited, Sun Baibai laughed loudly and said, "Ha ha ha. It's like the waves behind the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. Traditional Chinese medicine is already weak, but now with a rising star like my little brother, why worry about not being able to revitalize traditional Chinese medicine?" Everyone was dumbfounded. Hearing what he meant, he clearly thought that Ji Wufeng's acupuncture skills were extremely superior, far superior to his own, but isn't this too ridiculous? Could it be that he is old and confused? Sun Ccc became anxious and said, "Grandpa, have you seen it wrong? How could he?" Sun Baiyan interrupted him and asked, "Ccc, let me ask you, what is the key to acupuncture?" "It's the precision, the depth, and the intensity of the needle. Sun Cece said, needless to say, it is very accurate. It can't even find the acupoints and meridians. It only hurts when it is pierced on the body, but it is of no use. The depth and intensity of the force are equally important. If the intensity is too light, it will not be effective. If it is too deep, it may damage the patient's meridians and acupuncture points. Therefore, these three are the essentials of acupuncture. As long as you master them, you will be a master of acupuncture. On the surface, it looks like the position where my little brother injected the needle is the same as mine, but if you are familiar with the meridians and acupuncture points of the human body, if you look carefully, you will find that the position is still slightly off. For acupuncture, a slight difference can make a huge difference. Sun Bai pointed at the needles on the patient's body and said, not only that, if you look at the height of his silver needles, you can see that the depth of the needles he injected has also changed, and the intensity of the needles he injected before is better than mine. Okay. Sun Sisai was dumbfounded. He had studied acupuncture since he was a child. How could he not know what the two men were talking about? But if you want to reach this level, you must practice for many years and accumulate rich experience in acupuncture. How did Ji Wufeng do it at such a young age? Chapter 86 The Method of Controlling Qi. You are listening at ModernDay. Sun Bai looked at the patient with bright eyes and said, the most exquisite thing is the needle added by the little brother. Although it is inconspicuous, it has the finishing touch. It affects the whole body and makes the whole acupuncture effect. The effect has more than doubled. Ji Wufeng said to the patient, try and see if you can stand up. The patient tried it, and sure enough, he stood up easily and casually, and took a few steps, almost like a normal person. Am I really fine? The patient was stunned. Ji Wufeng shook his head and said, it's not completely healed yet. It needs a course of acupuncture and good conditioning before it's healed. Miracle doctor, you are such a miraculous doctor, thank you so much. The patient held Ji Wufeng's hand and was so excited that he almost cried. Originally, his cervical spine was seriously injured and he was about to be paralyzed. Even if he went to the hospital for surgery, the chance of success was very low. As the mainstay of the family, if they talk, the whole family will be destroyed. Ji Wufeng curing him is simply a kindness and reinvention. Everyone, this little brother's medical skills are far better than mine. I, my grandson, will admit defeat. Sun Bai stood up and said. Everyone was sighing. They didn't expect that Sun Bai, who had been a miracle doctor all his life, would lose at the hands of a young man. Then Sun Bai walked up to Ji Wufeng, bowed deeply, and said, little brother, I am so impressed that I am so impressed. I am willing to admit defeat. You can take whatever my son family has. Master, please don't do this. I deserve it. Ji Wufeng hurriedly helped him up, pointed at the patient and said, old man, I don't have time to continue acupuncture for him, so he will have to rely on your grandson to take care of his condition. How can I take on this important task with my poor medical skills? Sun Bai waved his hand and shook his head. Ji Wufeng smiled and said, I made a bet with him just now. If I win, he will have to kneel down and become my disciple. When Sun Bainian heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up and he shouted, Cece, why don't you kneel down and become your disciple? Sun Cece looked reluctant, but he didn't dare to disobey, so he knelt down and said, disciple pays homage to master. Ji Wufeng added, I plan to teach him a set of qi control techniques, but I don't have time to teach him, so I'll pass it on to the old man first and let him teach him slowly. Hearing this, Sun Bai and others were immediately shocked. The highest level of acupuncture is to use qi to control needles, but if you want to use qi to control needles, you must understand the method of controlling qi. The method of controlling qi is only available to those legendary miraculous doctor families. It is still a secret that has not been passed down. How can it be easily passed on to others? Little brother, you must not do this. Sun Bai said hurriedly. Ji Wufeng said, I wonder if Mr. Sun still remembers Ms. Qin Yi. Sun Bai thought for a moment and said, is it Ms. Qin Yi from Tianxiang Group? Ji Wufeng nodded and said, yes, you saved her young and seriously ill son many years ago. It was me. Sun Bai looked at Ji Wufeng carefully and praised, "Oh, I didn't expect that more than 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye, and you have grown up." Ji Wufeng immediately bowed and saluted, "Old man, thank you for saving my life back then. I didn't know that I was so generous as to come to Fuantong to cause trouble. I hope you won't be offended. Please accept my respect." Sun Bai was his savior. Even if Ji Wufeng was the Immortal King, he still had to bow down and worship him. Sun Banian quickly helped him up and said, "Absolutely not. In your situation back then, no doctor would have stood by and watched. That was my responsibility, not a favor." Ji Wufeng shook his head and said, "Back then, I was seriously ill and dying. If the treatment was not good, not only would my reputation be damaged, but I would even get into legal trouble. But you still took action resolutely. This kindness will never be forgotten by Ji Wufeng." Sun Bai said, "But young Songbai has been teaching and educating people all his life." Seeing Ji Wufeng's gratitude, he walked up to him and said with a smile, "Okay, don't be too embarrassed. After all, you are his elder, and you will be honored by him." "What's wrong?" Zhou Yuanqing also said happily, "Old son, I have to admire you. Although it is a doctor's bounden duty to save lives and heal the wounded, how many people can do what you do without caring about personal reputation and never give up on patients? You deserve his homage." Unable to withstand the persuasion of the two men, Sun Banian had no choice but to nod. Ji Wufeng bowed and said, "Ji Wufeng pays homage to Grandpa Sunday." Sun Bai was so happy that he helped him up and said, Okay, good boy, get up quickly." Ji Wufeng stood up and smiled, "Cici is now my apprentice, and you are my grandfather. We are all a family. I think you won't refuse this method of controlling air, right?" The Qi control method he mentioned is just the most common Qi training method in cultivation, but for mortals on Earth, it is a peerless martial arts mental method. Sun Bai pondered for a moment and then said, "Xiao Feng, Chinese medicine practitioners are very strict with each other. If you do this, will the practitioners blame you? Grandpa Sun is too worried. My master has passed away a long time ago. Before he died, he told me to get rid of family prejudices and carry forward what I have learned. I am also following my master's last wish." Ji Wufeng said, "I'm ashamed of myself, old man." Sure enough, after hearing this, Sun Bai was immediately overjoyed. This method of controlling Qi is a peerless treasure. As long as he masters the method of acupuncture, he can enter another realm. At the same time, the people watching outside the door originally thought that there would be a fierce competition in medical skills, but in the end, they became apprentices and recognized relatives, and they became a family. As for the damage to Fuantong's reputation, it disappeared immediately. On the contrary, after learning about Sun Bai's rescue of Ji Wufeng, the Sun family became more respected, not to mention the Sun family's medical skills, which are obvious to all, but more importantly, the Sun family has profound medical ethics. Otherwise, no matter how skilled the doctor is, he charges sky-high consultation fees and makes patients unable to see the doctor. How can he be considered a good doctor? What's more, Ji Wufeng and the Sun family are now a family, and Sun Sisai has become his apprentice. In a sense, Fuantong has one more doctor with excellent medical skills. It can be said that everyone was happy with the situation in front of him. Ji Wufeng breathed a sigh of relief. If his mother knew that he had come to Fuan Hall to cause trouble, he would definitely not be able to spare him. But now that the Sun family has been comforted, his mother will probably not be so angry. Everyone came to the Fuan Hall living room again. Sun Bai curiously asked about the conflict between Ji Wufeng and Sun Cici in the first place, and Ji Wufeng took out the blood ginseng. Ah, 1,000-year-old blood ginseng. Sun Bai recognized it at a glance. Grandpa, is this really a 1,000-year-old blood ginseng? Sun Cici's eyes widened. I usually tell you to read hard and stop showing off your medical skills, but you just don't listen. You don't recognize the 1,000-year-old elixir in front of you. It's really embarrassing. Sun Bai snorted coldly. After receiving his grandfather's approval, Sun Sisai suddenly felt ashamed and respectfully said to Ji Wufeng, "Master, I know I was wrong." Now Sun Sisaikshu finally knows that he and Ji Wufeng are not on the same level at all, and now that we are all on our own side, he has no hostility at all and is convinced. Ji Wufeng nodded and said, "It's okay, you are still young and you still have a lot to learn." Sun Sisi was speechless for a while. "You seem to be several years younger than me. How dare you call me young?" But he didn't dare to say this, he was no one as good as anyone else. Chapter 87 Policewoman asks for help. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally, Ji Wufeng said to Sun Bai, "Grandpa Sun, I have one thing to ask you for help. I want to purchase elixirs, like this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng. The more, the better." Sun Bai pondered for a moment and said, "Elixirs of this level are very rare. They are hard to come by, especially in small places like Yulyo." Ji Wufeng frowned immediately, but Sun Bainian added, "But don't be discouraged. Yulyo doesn't have it. We can go to big places, like the Yuzhou Medicinal Materials Guild. I guarantee you can gain something. It is said that the land is vast and rich in resources. Yuzhou is the capital of southern Hunan province, so naturally it has many good things." Ji Wufeng smiled. Sun Bai's eyes suddenly lit up and he said, "If you are interested, we can go to Yuzhou immediately. I will personally guide you." Ji Wufeng raised his eyebrows. He could tell that Sun Bai was looking forward to his trip to Yuzhou. Seeing what Ji Wufeng heard, Sun Bai said sternly, "Xiao Feng, since we are our own people now, I won't be polite. I want to ask you for help with something. But it doesn't matter, as long as I can help, I will never refuse. There is an old friend in Yuzhou whose family member is seriously ill. I am helpless and would like to ask you to go for diagnosis and treatment." Sun Bai said. "Sure, when?" Ji Wufeng said. Seeing that Ji Wufeng agreed, Sun Bai said happily, "This can be arranged according to your time. Anyway, he has an old disease since he was an adult, so he is not in a hurry." Ji Wufeng thought for a while and said, "Then let's go after I finish the college entrance examination, which will only take a month or two." "Are you still a high school student?" Everyone present was stunned. "I'm 18 years old. It's normal for me to go to high school." Everyone was speechless for a while. The medical skills he had shown before were so amazing, and his words and deeds were extremely calm, making people unconsciously ignore his age. Sun Bai was very happy and invited everyone to stay for dinner. Before the meal, a middle-aged man rushed over. He was Zhou Zhenghai, the son of Zhou Yuanqing, who now serves as the director of the health bureau. The Zhou family and the Sun family are family friends. Zhou Zhenghai also studied medicine with Sun Bai for a period of time when he was young. When Sun Bai came back this time, he heard that he was competing with others in his medical skills, so he rushed over after get off work. After everyone sat down, Zhou Yuanqing couldn't wait to introduce to Zhou Zhenghai. "Ah hi, let me introduce to you. This little brother Ji Wufeng is a miracle doctor. Not only did he cure Mei Lao's leg, he also cured your Yang. He cured all uncle's illnesses." Ji Wufeng. "Is that Ji Wufeng, the young master of Qianxiang Group?" Zhou Zhenghai said in surprise. "Yes, it's me." Ji Wufeng said. Zhou Zhenghai's face was immediately full of contempt. As the leader of the health department, he had dealt with Qianxiang Group a lot. Of course, he had heard that Ji Wufeng was a famous loser. Let him believe that Ji Wufeng suddenly became a miracle doctor. What about the ghost? Knowing that Qianxiang Group had not been blocked after several accidents before, it was all because Zhou Zhenghai handled it impartially. Ji Wufeng picked up the wine glass and said, "Director Zhou, I want to toast you." However, in Zhou Zhenghai's eyes, Ji Wufeng just wanted to curry favor with him so that he could open a backdoor to Qianxiang Group. "No need to respect me, everyone is treated equally in front of me." Zhou Zhenghai said coldly, feeling that something was wrong in the atmosphere. Zhou Yuanqing smiled and said, "There is no need to be so polite. From now on, everyone will be our own people." After dinner, Ji Wufeng left Fuan Hall. Suddenly the phone rang. It was Chen Tainan. After the call was answered, she could only hear her trembling voice, saying in extreme fear, "Save me, come and save me." "You now where?" Ji Wufeng asked with a frown. "I'm at Longwei Enterprise." "Come here." "Ah." After Chen Tainan screamed in horror, the phone went silent. Longwei Enterprise, the factory is located in the west of the city and covers an area of 1,000 acres. It was at its peak about 5 years ago, with tens of thousands of employees. It is the undisputed leading enterprise in Yulio. Almost everyone predicts that the fifth largest family will emerge. However, due to development needs, when Longwei Enterprise expanded its factory, it accidentally dug a tomb. Since then, strange things have happened frequently in which employees were drained of their essence and blood and died. And the more people die, the more haunted things become. Word spread, and employees were frightened and left one after another, and the prosperous Longwei Enterprise collapsed. Later, the boss wanted to sell the large area of the factory area, but before he could sign the contract, he discovered that the boss Rong Baichuan and his family had died at home, and only one son, Rong Tianhe, was missing. Such a large piece of land was originally of great value, and the government put it up for auction every year, but no one dared to take it over. It was abandoned like this for 5 years and became a ghost area where no one dared to approach. I don't know how Chen Tainan ended up there. When they arrived at the Longwei Enterprise factory, a chilly air immediately hit their faces, causing Yu Xiaojie and Gao Xinghua to tremble all over. Ji Wufeng raised his eyebrows. Someone actually set up a mysterious Yin ghost formation here to gather the mysterious Yin Qi from heaven and earth for cultivation. However, in the world of cultivation, this is usually used by people in the demonic path to gather and nourish souls, and finally complete the cultivation. The method of dispersing immortality, this made him a little excited. Maybe he could find clues to earth cultivators here. "Master Feng, what are we doing here? This place is haunted." Seeing that Yu Xiaojie and Gao Xinghua were both frightened, their teeth chattering and their legs trembling, they said, "You don't have to go in, just wait for me outside." Striding into the factory area, the Yin energy became heavier and heavier, and there was an extremely fierce aura mixed in it. Ji Wufeng immediately understood that there must be a powerful spirit hidden here. He knew some cultivation methods and was entrenched. Here it is, needless to say, it must have been this Li Pe who had drained the essence and blood of many people in Longwei Enterprise before. "Ah, help, don't come here." Bang bang bang. Suddenly, Chen Tianan's scream and several gunshots were heard not far away, and Ji Wufeng rushed over immediately. I saw Chen Tianan's 2 subordinate police officers lying on the ground unconscious, while Chen Tainan huddled in the corner with his gun raised, shivering, almost frightened. A young man with disheveled hair and a fierce aura stood in front of him. He let out a harsh and ferocious laugh and said, "What a good luck. Someone from the public family came to the door on their own initiative and devoured you. My abilities are greatly increased, and I can successfully seize the body in one fell swoop." Chen Tainan and her 2 subordinates are both police officers and are upright, so their essence and blood are far stronger than ordinary people. It's obvious that this young man is the powerful one who is entrenched here. You don't need to guess to know that he was responsible for the death of so many people in Longwei Enterprise before. Chapter 88 Midnight Kiss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, Ji Wufeng discovered that he had seen this young man before. It was the beggar he, Ji Yanran and Shi Qianying met at the entrance of the shopping mall. He had long seen that there was a strong spirit hidden in the young man's body, and he wanted to seize his body and use his body to be reborn. "Go away, let me tell you, I know a great immortal. He is very powerful. If you dare to touch me, he will definitely beat you to death." Chen Tainan screamed, Ji Wufeng, you why don't you and the bastard come here? I'm about to be eaten by a ghost." "Where did you die?" "I'm not married yet, and I haven't dated a handsome guy yet. I'm so grateful to die here, woo-woo." Finally she broke down and cried, completely losing the domineering attitude of the iron-blooded detective before. "Come on, give me your essence and blood. Help me succeed in seizing the body, and dominate the world from now on. The young man rushed towards Chen Tainan, but suddenly he looked startled, stopped and turned his head and shouted sharply, "Who is it?" Ji Wufeng strode out and said with disdain on his face, "A bear like you wants to dominate the world. What a big joke." Seeing Ji Wufeng, Chen Tainan was ecstatic at first, and then his tears fell, and he shouted, "Ji Wufeng, why are you here, you bastard? I was almost eaten." Ji Wufeng suddenly glared and said, "I'm here to save you. You'd better be gentle when you speak, otherwise I'll leave." When Chen Tainan heard this, he hurriedly said, Don't leave. "What will I do if you leave?" "It's you?" The young man also recognized Ji Wufeng, his scarlet eyes filled with resentment, and said, "It's all your fault. If it hadn't been for you, that kid wouldn't have suddenly woken up, and I wouldn't have expended my energy to suppress him." In order not to reveal his whereabouts for so many years, Li Po was very careful every time he killed someone to steal blood essence, planned it in advance, and never left any clues, but this time, he took risks and killed people rashly, allowing Chen Tainan to track down the clues and track him down here. This is all because the last time in the mall, Shi Qianying and Ji Yanran's sympathy for the young man actually touched his good nature. When the two were about to be harmed by Gaoxingguo, the young man's true self woke up in order to protect the two. In order to suppress the young man's awakened body, Li Po spent his energy and had to take risks and kill people without a plan. The last time Chen Tainan received a murder case, he found the body left by Li Po. "But it's just the right time for you to come, because I noticed that your essence and blood are more powerful. You should die." The young man suddenly rushed over, and the terrifying cold evil aura pressed towards Ji Wufeng overwhelmingly. Snort! Ji Wufeng stamped his foot on the ground, and the monstrous cold evil energy instantly dissipated, and a domineering force came out, overwhelming the young man. How powerful is the true energy of a cultivator! The young man was immediately suppressed and unable to move, and his neck was held in Ji Wufeng's hand. "How come, you are from the Taoist sect?" The young man said with a look of horror. "I'm not a member of the Taoist sect, but it's easy to kill you." Ji Wufeng said coldly, "It is not difficult to kill this Li Po, but Ji Wufeng wants to find clues to the earth's cultivators through him. I admit that I am not your opponent, but it is not that easy for you to kill me, ah." The young man suddenly let out a sharp roar and sprayed out a cloud of black mist from his mouth. That was Li Po's true body. I saw him suddenly pounce on Chen Tainan, who was aside. Chen Tianan's face instantly turned frighteningly pale, and his eyes exuded a terrifying black energy. She was possessed by Li Po. "This policewoman is your woman, right? If you want to kill me, you have to kill her first. Did you do it?" Chen Tainan made a cold and harsh voice that did not belong to her, and said with a smile, "Let's make a deal. As long as you let me go, I promise to fly away and never appear in front of you again. How about that?" Ji Wufeng's face was full of disdain, and he said, "I thought you had some skills, but now it seems that I think too highly of you." He suddenly stepped forward and slapped Chen Tianan's Tianling cap with his palm. He heard Chen Tainan let out a sharp whistle, opened his mouth and sprayed out a cloud of black mist. Ji Wufeng opened his palm and grabbed it in the air. The black mist was sucked into his palm. A frightening middle-aged Taoist wearing ancient Taoist robes appeared, and he pinched his neck tightly. You are not from the Taoist sect. It is impossible for the Taoist sect to have such methods. You are from the Immortal sect," the middle-aged Taoist screamed in horror. "It's too late to know now." Ji Wufeng said coldly. The middle-aged Taoist had a look of despair on his face, and his eyes suddenly showed sternness, saying, "I won't survive in your hands anyway, let's perish together." Feeling a powerful force bursting out, Ji Wufeng frowned, immediately took a step back and struck down with a palm in the air, boom. The middle-aged Taoist exploded suddenly, emitting terrifying power, but did not scatter in all directions. He was suppressed by Ji Wufeng's palm. Ji Wufeng was a little angry. He wanted to interrogate the middle-aged Taoist to see if he could find the speed of the Earth's cultivators. Unexpectedly, he was so frightened that he blew himself up. After knowing that Ji Wufeng was a member of the Immortal sect, he walked over and looked at the two unconscious police officers. They were just contaminated by the Taoist's sinister and deadly aura. Ji Wufeng helped them remove it, and they could wake up alive and kicking at any time. Chen Tainan was possessed by the Taoist just now and had some of her energy sucked away. Ji Wufeng had to input a burst of true energy to wake her up directly. Ghost. Chen Tainan woke up and howled at the top of his voice. Ji Wufeng curled his lips and said, "Why are you howling? The ghost has been taken in by me." After saying that, he patted his butt and was about to leave. Chen Tainan immediately shouted, "Don't leave, stop. What else do you want to do?" Ji Wufeng said impatiently. Chen Tainan lowered his head and said with a blushing face, "My legs are a little weak and I can't stand up. Come over and help me. So troublesome." Ji Wufeng walked over, helped Chen Tainan up, let go of his hand and said, "Can I go now?" But Chen Tainan's whole body had not recovered from his weakness, and he could not stand at all. As soon as Ji Wufeng let go, she screamed and fell backwards. Ji Wufeng immediately reached out and grabbed her hand. Chen Tainan threw himself uncontrollably at Ji Wufeng and plunged into his arms. Their lips were stuck together like a bloody plot in an idle drama. Both of them were stunned for a moment, their four eyes staring at each other. To be honest, although he has experienced thousands of years of past and present lives, the most intimate action Ji Wufeng has with a woman is just holding hands. He is a junior brother through and through. Even the Immortal King is stunned by the situation in front of him. At this moment, the two police officers woke up and were shocked by this scene. Their captain was actually having fun. "I'll rub it, kiss wildly at midnight. But it's not appropriate for this occasion, isn't it?" The voices of the two people immediately woke up Chen Tainan. 3 seconds later, he heard a female lion roaring, "You bastard, stinking gangster, and lecher, if you dare to eat my tofu, go to hell." Chen Tainan flew up and kicked him. Ji Wufeng was still in a daze, completely unprepared, and was hit directly in the thigh. Hiss. With Ji Wufeng's current cultivation level, he is not invulnerable yet. He was hit by a vital blow and immediately gasped in pain. He covered his thigh and squatted on the ground, like a rabbit. Jumping up and down, he pointed at Chen Tainan and said in a trembling voice, "You stinky bitch, how dare you kick me?" Chapter 89. Are you giving birth to a baby? You are listening at ModernDay. Kick you. If you piss me off, I'll shoot you. Chen Tainan said angrily to his two subordinates, "You two, handcuff him to me and accuse him of assaulting the police." The two police officers shrank their necks and said, "Captain, kissing doesn't count as assaulting a police officer, right?" Chen Tainan glared and said, "Why don't you count it? He just bit my tongue." Ji Wufeng suddenly became furious. "Who bit your tongue? So what if I bite it? I'm your savior. I didn't ask you to pledge my life to me. It's not bad to throw yourself into my arms, but you actually kicked me in return for your kindness. You bitch, you've gone too far. I must teach you a lesson today." Ji Wufeng jumped up. "Come on, I'm worried that I won't find a chance to kill you." Chen Tainan also said fiercely. No, don't do it." The two police officers immediately hurriedly grabbed each other and persuaded each other, "Brother, kissing does not count as assaulting the police, but doing it does not." "Captain, the young couple fights at the head of the bed and at the end of the bed. Don't be so angry. If you really beat someone up, you will have to feel bad tomorrow." "Why bother?" Chen Tainan immediately said angrily. "Who is a young couple with him?" Ji Wufeng also glared and said, "That's right, can I like this dominatrix? You bastard, you dare to say that I am a dominatrix, I will kill you." Chen Tainan was as violent as a lioness. Ji Wufeng also shouted, "Come on, don't think that because you are a woman, I won't dare to beat you." The two police officers held the two of them tightly and said, "Forget it, brother, you should leave quickly." "And the captain, our case has not been completed yet." Only then did Chen Tainan remember that he was still at the scene of the murder. He immediately calmed down and coldly snorted, "Humph, I'll let you go this time. If you fall into my hands next time, you will be forced to walk away without food. TCH, it's as if I fell into your hands any time." Ji Wufeng squinted his eyes and turned around to leave after speaking. After returning home, it was already late at night and Ji Yanran had already gone to bed. Fortunately, he invited Shi Qianying back. Otherwise, the little girl would often have to be alone at home. Now that he has got back a lot of elixirs from Fuantang, Ji Wufeng should start refining the elixirs. Although his current cultivation progress is not slow, it is still not enough. Otherwise, the middle-aged Taoist today would have no chance to self-destruct. He had the elixir, but there was still one most important thing missing, which was the elixir furnace. However, he had already thought about what to use instead, which was a pressure cooker. In the world of cultivation, he is a master of alchemy. Even without an alchemy furnace, he can still make alchemy in the air. If his cultivation level is not enough, it should be no problem to use a pressure cooker. The elixir refining started, but something seemed to have gone wrong. There were too many impurities in the elixir on the earth. Removing the impurities not only consumed a lot of his true energy, but also caused the pressure cooker to be unable to hold up due to the high temperature for too long. Boom! Finally, after Ji Wufeng's true energy was exhausted and the elixir was not refined, the pressure cooker exploded, blowing him away and even blowing a big hole in the wall. Ji Wufeng was immediately dumbfounded, because the room next door was Shi Qianying's. At this time, she was sitting on the bed in fear. It was summer, and she was too frugal to turn on the air conditioner. Naturally, she was wearing very, very thin clothes. That kind of underwear. He blushed and wanted to get up quickly to explain, but he had consumed too much real energy and had just been bombed. His whole body was weak and he couldn't get up for a long time. Shi Qianying suddenly jumped out of bed, rushed to him, and screamed, Xiao Feng, what's wrong with you?" That the explosion just now not only blasted through the wall, but also knocked Ji Wufeng to the ground. His clothes were in tatters and his body was charred. This can be regarded as frightening Shi Qianying. Even the wall was blown apart. How can a person be good? Are you injured somewhere? I'll take you to the hospital right away. No, I'm fine, I'm really fine. Ji Wufeng said quickly. How can it be? The wall has been blown up like this, how can you be okay? Ji Wufeng wanted to die. If he continued like this, his nosebleed would definitely not be saved, but he didn't have the strength to push Shi Qianying away now. Don't move me yet. I seem to be injured. If you move me like this, it will only hurt me a second time. In desperation, Ji Wufeng shouted loudly. Okay, I won't touch you. Sure enough, when Shi Qianying heard this, she quickly let go of her hand. She was at a loss for a moment and actually started crying. Her tears kept falling and she said, Then what should I do now? Don't cry. Ji Wufeng shouted, gathered all his strength, took off his shirt, and said, Look, I'm really fine, my skin is not broken. Real? Shi Qianying stepped forward in disbelief and touched the charred area on Ji Wufeng's upper body. It was black ash and fell off as soon as he touched it. There was really no injury. At this moment, a voice sounded at the door, Brother, are you having a baby with Sister Qianying? That the two of them turned around and saw Ji Yanran standing at the door with her bare feet and her big eyes wide open. The house exploded, and the little girl was awakened. She immediately ran over to take a look. She didn't expect to see the scene in front of her. Having a baby, both of them were stunned, but they quickly understood what Ji Yanran meant. Ah! Shi Qianying suddenly screamed and retracted her palm like lightning, her face as red as a tomato. In the middle of the night, Ji Wufeng was shirtless, and Shi Qianying was wearing such thin underwear. The two were hugging each other, and Shi Qianying was touching it with her hands. What could it be if it wasn't giving birth to a baby? Ji Wufeng was embarrassed and said, Girl, this is a misunderstanding, things are not what you think. Unexpectedly, Ji Yanran turned around and walked away, pouting and saying, If you have a baby, just have a baby, I didn't say it's not allowed, but can you please stop blowing up the wall next time? Ji Wufeng felt dizzy for a while, and he still had to explain this matter. Shi Qianying blushed even harder, but still asked worriedly, Xiao Feng, are you really okay? Ji Wufeng looked at Shi Qianying, and suddenly his nose felt hot, and a wisp of bright red spurted out. Ah, you're bleeding, Shi Qianying immediately screamed in fright. Ji Wufeng quickly covered his nose, waved his hands and said, it's okay, you just need to put on your clothes. Chapter 90 Pretending to be a Miracle Doctor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Shi Qianying looked down, she jumped up like a rabbit in fright, screamed and ran back to her room along the hole in the wall. As a result, Ji Wufeng had no choice but to spend the night on the sofa in the living room, not to mention refining elixirs in the bedroom. He couldn't even sleep. After wiping away his nosebleed, Ji Wufeng was very confused. He had been cultivating for thousands of years, so how powerful was his concentration? How can one have uncontrolled nosebleeds so easily? It's really crazy. The next morning at the dinner table, Ji Yanran asked expectantly, Brother, when will you and Sister Qianying's baby be born? It's like I'm a little ant. Shi Qianying immediately lowered her head in shame. After Ji Wufeng was speechless for a while, he glared and said, Children don't understand anything, what are they talking nonsense about? Ji Yanran curled her lips and said, Who said I don't understand anything? I'm already 6 years old and I'm a big kid. Don't always treat me like a kid. After breakfast, while Ji Yanran was packing her school bag, Shi Qianying asked with a blushing face, Xiao Feng, can I ask you a favor? No problem, just say it. Ji Wufeng said. It's my grandma's birthday tomorrow. I want you to go with me as my boyfriend, is that okay? Shi Qianying said. Ji Wufeng was stunned. Do you want him to take responsibility for what happened last night? Seeing Ji Wufeng's expression, Shi Qianying quickly added, Don't get me wrong, my grandma has always been worried about me and my mother. There was nothing I could do, so I just said that I had a very good boyfriend who was taking care of me and my mother. Let her stop worrying. So that's what happened. Ji Wufeng smiled and said, That must be because your grandma really wants to meet your boyfriend and wants you to take him over to show her, right? Shi Qianying nodded and said, But it's okay if you don't want to. Of course I am willing. Don't worry, I will go with you tomorrow. Ji Wufeng said. Thank you so much. Shi Qianying said happily. At this time, Ji Yanran walked out with her school bag on her back and said seriously, We all had a baby together, why are you so polite? Too out of touch. Shi Qianying was so ashamed that she grabbed Ji Yanran and ran away to school. He couldn't stay at home after it was bombed like this, and it would take some time to find workers to repair the walls. Just when Ji Wufeng was idle and bored, the phone rang. It was Zhou Yuanqing. Xiao Feng, can I ask you something? Zhou Yuanqing said. Uncle Zhou just said it's okay. Ji Wufeng said. It's just that my family, Zhou Hai, and my daughter-in-law seem to have some physical problems. We went to various hospitals for examinations and they said they are fine. I wonder if there is something dirty. Anyway, I'm fine now. Let's go and take a look. Ji Wufeng learned that if it weren't for Zhou Yuanqing's insistence that Zhou Zhenghai handle the matter impartially, the Tianxiang group, which had suffered a series of accidents, would have been closed down by the health department long ago. After arriving at Zhou's house, Zhou Yuanqing welcomed him in and said, Xiao Feng, help me see if there are any unclean things in my house. Ji Wufeng turned around again, shook his head and said, Your house is very clean, there is no problem, the problem may lie with the people. Okay, Zhou Hai and his wife will be back soon. Please help me take a look. Zhou Yuanqing said quickly. Soon Zhou Zhenghai came back from get-off work with a woman, his wife Xie Yume. Dad, why is he here? Zhou Zhenghai asked with a frown. The first time they met Zhou Zhenghai, he didn't trust Ji Wufeng too much and even looked down on him. Now that he saw him coming to his door, he was even more disgusted. I asked Xiaofeng to help find out whether the problem is with you or Yume. Zhou Yuanqing said. No, There is nothing wrong after checking so many times. This means that Yume and I are fine at all. It's just that the time has not come yet. Let him go. Zhou Zhenghai waved his hand impatiently. After Ji Wufeng stared at the two of them for a while, he said, "You are wrong. It's not that the time has not come, but that you two do have a problem." Zhou Zhenghai immediately became angry and said, "Don't think that you can pretend to be a miracle doctor after learning medical skills for 2 days. Let me tell you, I am the director of the health bureau. I can arrest you at any time for practicing medicine without a license. Since you don't believe me, forget it, but with your couple's physiques, I think it will be difficult for you to have children in this life." Ji Wufeng shook his head and wanted to leave. Hearing this, Zhou Zhenghai became even more furious and said to Zhou Yuanqing, "Dad, if you tell him this kind of thing, don't you think I'm not embarrassed enough?" Xia Yume blushed even more angrily, hiding her feet and saying, "Dad, why do you say everything to others?" Ji Wufeng could tell at a glance that Zhou Zhenghai and his wife were both in good health. However, due to conflicting physiques, they could not reconcile yin and yang, so they could not conceive an heir. Since there is nothing wrong with his body, the problem Zhou Yuanqing mentioned is naturally the problem of Zhou Zhenghai not having children. It's just that this kind of thing is relatively private and a bit embarrassing to tell outsiders, so it has been kept hidden. Now that Zhou Yuanqing has told outsiders, can the couple not be angry? Zhou Yuanqing was dumbfounded and said, "I didn't say it. Can I say such things casually?" "You didn't say how he knew?" Zhou Yuanqing became angry and said, "I didn't say it when I said I didn't. Could it be that I still work with others to deceive you even though I'm old?" The two of them were stunned. If Zhou Yuanqing didn't say it, then he definitely didn't say it. So how did Ji Wufeng know? Zhou Yuanqing was a little excited and said, "Xiao Feng, since you can see it, there must be a way to solve it, right?" Ji Wufeng nodded and said, "Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just that the couple's physiques are conflicting and the yin and yang are not in harmony. It just needs to be adjusted." Zhou Yuanqing was immediately overjoyed and said, "Xiao Feng, I have to leave it to you. Zhou Zhenghai has been married for several years, and Xia Yume's stomach is still not strong enough. He is going crazy if he wants to hold a grandson. It's really ridiculous. The more you talk about it, the more outrageous it becomes. The physiques are conflicting, and the yin and yang are at odds. Dad, how can you believe what this kind of magician says?" Zhou Zhenghai said angrily. "Don't talk nonsense, I have seen Xiao Feng's ability with my own eyes." Zhou Yuanqing said. Zhou Zhenghai snorted coldly and said, "Ji Wufeng, I don't care what your purpose is, get out of here right now and don't bluff and lie again, or I won't be able to spare you." "Okay, I'll leave right away, but before I leave, I just want to ask my sister-in-law a few questions." Ji Wufeng turned to Xia Yume and asked, "Sister-in-law, are you not naturally afraid of the cold, and would you sweat profusely even if you exercise a little?" "And that's true even in winter." Xia Yume was stunned immediately, nodded and said, "Yes, but how did you know?" Chapter 91 Buying a Car. You are listening at ModernDay. Ji Wufeng asked again, "Is Brother Zhou naturally afraid of the cold?" "The same is true in summer, but when I sleep with you in winter, my body doesn't feel warm for half the day." Xia Yume's face immediately turned red, but her eyes were filled with shock, including Zhou Zhenghai's, because only the couple knew about this situation, not even Zhou Yuanqing. How did you know?" Xia Yume said. "Of course you can see it with your eyes. The heaven and earth are divided into two qi, yin and yang. Males dominate yang and females dominate yin. Only when yin and yang are harmonious can life be nurtured. It is obvious that Brother Zhou has a strong yin and a weak yang, but sister-in-law, you have a strong yang and a weak yin, which cannot be reconciled. Naturally unable to conceive an heir." After Ji Wufeng finished speaking, he walked away. "That's all I have to say, Uncle Zhou, I can't help, so I'll take my leave." Seeing that he was about to leave, Zhou Yuanqing quickly ran over and grabbed his arm, saying, "Hey, Xiao Feng, you must not leave. If you leave, won't my old Zhou family be cut off from the rest?" Zhou Zhenghai and Xia Yume looked at each other, stepped forward and said, if you really have a way, please help us. Although what Ji Wufeng said was a bit mysterious, he knew so many things that outsiders would never know. No matter how doubtful he was, he would rather believe it than not. Xiaofeng, please, I'm already old. You can't let me die without having a grandson. Why don't you kneel down? Zhou Yuanxing's eyes turned red as he spoke, and he bent over to kneel down. Ji Wufeng quickly supported him and said, okay, Uncle Zhou, if you ask, I will definitely help. Zhou Yuanxing was overjoyed and said, that's great, Xiaofeng. It depends on you whether my old Zhou family can have a grandson. Ji Wufeng turned around and grabbed the hands of Zhou Zhenghai and his wife, pouring the true energy into their bodies to help them sort out the yin and yang in their bodies. Zhou Zhenghai suddenly widened his eyes, with a look of astonishment on his face, because he felt that his body was starting to heat up, while Xia Yume's eyes also widened, and her hot body was gradually getting colder. Ji Wufeng let go of his hand and said, your physique is natural. I can't help you completely change it for the time being. I can only temporarily help you return to a normal state. Although it won't take long, you too should work hard and you should be able to conceive. Child. Zhou Yuanxing said, did you hear that? I have worked hard these days. If I am unable to have a grandson, I will blame you. Zhou Zhenghai and his wife both blushed. They began to trust Ji Wufeng. In addition, they also wanted children themselves, so naturally they would not cherish the opportunity. If nothing unexpected happens, Zhou Zhenghai and his wife will soon blossom and bear fruit. As soon as Ji Wufeng walked out of Zhou's house, Gao Xinghua called and said respectfully, Master Feng, the car is ready for you. When are you free to come and take a look? Okay, I'll go take a look if I find time today. Anyway, the wall at home has probably not been repaired yet, and there is no place to go, so I simply picked up the car and took out the phone to call Mouse. In the previous life, the two of them had always been envious of being able to drive, but Qin Yi said she would not wait for him. It was impossible to buy him a car after graduating from college. Now I finally have the opportunity, and of course I have to be with my good brothers. What are you doing? Ji Wufeng asked. What else can you do? Of course I'm in class. Mouse said sadly, this kid is now a shareholder of Chunfeng Dei building. He can just sit back and collect money to live a happy life. However, he is uncharacteristically going to school during this period. He also works extremely hard and is almost exhausted. Out, Ji Wufeng laughed and scolded, is this the sun coming out in the west? You kid actually ran to class. Do you still want to get the top score in the exam? Mouse smiled coquettishly and said, I don't dare think that the #1 scholar belongs to you, boss. But if you go to a prestigious university and I fail, wouldn't it be a shame for you? In fact, Mouse's grades have never been bad. If he is willing to study hard, he will even be very good. However, Ji Wufeng had no intention of going to college before, so he didn't care, because as he said, he had to follow Ji Wufeng's footsteps. If Ji Wufeng didn't go to college, he wouldn't go to college. If Ji Wufeng wanted to go to college, of course he would have to follow. Ji Wufeng thought for a while and decided to find a way to refine a spiritual elixir for the mouse. The spirit opening pill is a kind of elixir for cultivators, which can open up and enhance a person's spiritual intelligence. If a mouse eats one, learning will get twice the result with half the effort. Okay, let's rest today. I have something to do with you. Ji Wufeng called, and Mouse immediately ran out of the school. After getting into a taxi, he asked, Boss, where are we going? You'll know when you get there. The two rushed to Gao's 4S store, which is also the largest car sales outlet in Yulio. More than 70% of the city's high-end cars are produced here. As soon as we entered the door, two graceful and elegant reception ladies bowed and said, Welcome. The two of them had no time to appreciate how beautiful the welcoming lady was, and were stunned by the scene in front of them. Looking around, they saw rows and rows of luxury cars parked, making it dizzying and dazzling. Boss, are you planning to buy a car? The mouse stared at these cars and gulped, Nonsense, what are we doing here if we don't buy a car? Come on, let's go over and take a look. Ji Wufeng pulled Moz and walked inside, seeing someone coming to the door. A large number of beautiful and sexy shopping guides were immediately ready to greet them. However, after seeing the two people's outfits, they immediately stepped back with their lips curled up, muttering, "Here are two more country bumpkins who can't afford a car. Poor boy, you made me excited for nothing." The two of them were dressed in ordinary clothes. They didn't look like successful people or kids from rich families. No one thought they could afford a car here. There was only a delicate shopping guide girl who was dressed in a slightly conservative style. She pondered for a moment and then came forward and said, "Gentlemen, do you need anything?" Ji Wufeng said, "I want to see the Audi series." His goal is the classic Audi A6. This is a car that Qin Yi has always been very fond of, and it is more suitable for her identity and personality. "Okay, please follow me." The shopping guide led the two people to the Audi area, but they found an A8 parked next to it. The style was as classic as the A6, and it looked more majestic. Seeing Ji Wufeng staring at the A8, the shopping guide introduced, "Compared with the A6, the A8 is equally classic in style, and has better safety performance. Needless to say, can I try it?" Ji Wufeng couldn't wait to interrupt the shopping guide lady. "Sure." When Ji Wufeng was about to go up and try, a sharp voice suddenly shouted, "What are you doing? Whoever allowed you to get on the bus, get off right away." When he turned around, he saw a woman dressed coquettishly walking over with an angry look on her face. The shopping guide's face changed and she said, "Manager Hu, this gentleman wants to test drive." "Test drive? Can anyone try this car?" Manager Hu squinted at Ji Wufeng and glared, "You don't even know who they are. Can they afford it? If you can't afford it, what should you try? If something goes wrong during the test, are you responsible?" Chapter 92 Being Despised. You are listening at ModernDay. At this time, the group of shopping guide ladies who had previously been unwilling to come to receive Ji Wufeng also ran over and said angrily, "This is not the first time. Last time, a pauper was let in to take pictures. Is not that right? Once, the seat of a car was scratched, and I suspected that it was caused by her casually letting people test the car. Yes, I often see her bring people in to test the car and then not buy it." It was obvious that this shopping guide girl was incompatible with other people on weekdays. Seeing that she was being scolded by the manager, they all came over to add insult to injury and stepped on her. Sure enough, Manager Hu raised his eyebrows and pointed at the shopping guide lady and said, "Su Haiyue, pack your things immediately and go to the finance department to settle your wages. You are fired." When Su Haiyue heard this, her eyes immediately turned red and she said, "Manager, no, my performance has been rising this month." Manager Hu pointed at Ji Wufeng and the two of them and said, "No need to say any more, your performance it's coming up, but if you just let these people who can't afford it test the car, you'll cause even greater losses." Ji Wufeng was a little angry. "Damn, am I that much like a pauper?" But Mouse seemed even more angry and said coldly, "Who do you think can't afford it? I am talking about you." Manager Hu squinted his eyes and said, "Don't say you can't afford it. Looking at your virtue, even if you lose a small piece of paint, I don't think you can afford it. Don't go too far." The mouse stared. Manager Hu snorted coldly and said, "What if I go too far? Tell you, leave now or I will call security." Ji Wufeng smiled slightly and asked Su Haiyue, "I want to ask you, are you here not long ago?" Su Haiyue nodded and said, "Yes, it's only my 3rd month here." "Then your performance has increased significantly?" Ji Wufeng asked again. "I was already number 1 in performance last month." Su Haiyue said. Mouse suddenly understood and said to Manager Hu, "I understand. It turns out that you are all envious and jealous, and you are seeking to avenge your personal vengeance. You are afraid that if someone's performance is too good, they will take away your jobs." Sure enough, the group of shopping guide ladies all evaded their gazes, but Manager Hu's expression changed. Manager Hu's name is Hu Engying. In fact, the reason why she became the manager here is not because of her strong business ability, but because she is good at communication and can go to bed with her guests. However, no matter how rich you are, you don't buy a car every day, not to mention that not every customer is interested in her, so her performance is already declining, and this Su Haiyue is not only better than her in business, but also younger and more beautiful than her. It has attracted the attention of the high-tech country. If this continues, it is very likely that he will ride on her head and replace her as the manager. She had a premonition of the crisis, so of course she tried every means to suppress them, and even wanted to drive them away. I am the manager here, and she is just a shopping guide here. Will I be afraid of her? Hu Yingying said angrily. Of course you are afraid of her. If she performs too well, she may take your place. Ji Wufeng said with a smile. That's complete nonsense. Get out of here right now, or I'll ask the security guards to kick you out. Hu Yingying snorted coldly. The mouse said angrily, you want to try blasting it? How dare two paupers run wild here? Come on, kick them out. Hu Yingying howled in a high-pitched voice. Immediately, several security guards gathered around with batons, trying to drive Ji Wufeng and the others out. Ji Wufeng squinted his eyes and said, we are customers here. If you treat us like this, aren't you afraid of being complained? Hu Yingying said sarcastically, if you are really here to buy a car, you are our valued customers, but can you afford it? Damn, you are really looking down on others. I want this A6, and the performance will be blamed on this young lady. Mouse pointed at the A6 and said angrily, he was really angry, and with his shares in ModernDay building, he could also afford this car. Okay, pay now. If you can't get it out, don't blame me for being rude. Hu Yingying said coldly, pay now. Mouse was immediately confused. It was true that he had money now, but there was no settlement at ModernDay yet. In other words, he had money, but he couldn't get it out now. Seeing Mouse's expression, Hu Yingying immediately sneered and said, after all, they are still a big clove of garlic. Come on, blast them out. Several security guards immediately approached the mouse with a fierce look. Don't want. Su Haiyue quickly stood up and stood in front of the mouse, saying, let's leave right away. Don't make the matter a big deal. It will also be bad for the image of the store, okay? Looking at Su Haiyue standing in front of him, Mosey looked embarrassed and said, I'm sorry. Su Haiyue turned around and said with a smile like spring breeze, it doesn't matter, I want to thank you. You also want to protect me, otherwise I wouldn't be humiliated by them. What she wanted to say was humiliated, but she didn't say it. Looking at Su Haiyue's smiling face, Mouse's expression was full of strangeness, and his eyes flashed brightly. Hu Yingying said with a cold face, you all leave immediately, otherwise I will be really rude. However, Ji Wufeng pointed at the A8 and said, how much does this car cost? Hu Yingying suddenly became impatient and said, why are you asking? Can you afford it? Get out of here now. I want both cars. Ji Wufeng took out his bank card, pointed at Su Haiyue and said, then the performance will be credited to her. Damn it, now that he is a billionaire, he is still looked down upon for buying a car. It is really unreasonable. Originally, he called Gaoxingguo over and everything was solved, but he just wanted to give these guys a hard slap with money. Everyone was stunned, including Moz. Logically speaking, Ji Wufeng was the same as him. ModernDay building had not settled, so he shouldn't have so much money. Su Haiyue said quickly, sir, these two cars add up to nearly 2 million. Ji Wufeng interrupted him and said directly, swipe your card and pay the bill in full. The shopping guide ladies all said sarcastically, oh, I really took out the card. Could it be an empty card? It's not like it's an empty card, but judging from their character, there should be a few cents in it. It's so funny that at this time, you still pretend to be fat. The mouse was also anxious, so he ran over and whispered, forget it, boss, let's admit defeat today, and we will come back when we have money. Hu Yingying's face was full of ridicule and she said, when you have money? People like you will never be able to afford a car here in your life, get out of here now. Ji Wufeng's eyes flashed coldly and he said, what if I can afford it now? Humph, if you can really afford it, I can go for a naked run. Hu Yingying shouted. Chapter 93 What a waste. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's okay. Ji Wufeng handed the bank card to Su Haiyue, looked directly at him and said, "Go and help me handle the payment procedures." This. Holding the bank card, Su Haiyue looked hesitant, but when she met Ji Wufeng's eyes, she felt confident in him for no reason, and immediately brought the POS machine. Both cars were equipped with top-notch configurations and cost more than 1.8 million yuan in total. Su Haiyue handed the POS to Ji Wufeng and said, "Please enter the password." Hu Yingying sneered at the security guards and said, "If he can't pay, kick them out immediately." Ji Wufeng held up his finger for a long time without dropping it, because he hadn't used a bank card for more than 1,000 years, and he couldn't remember the password. "Humph, don't pretend here if you don't have money, kick them out," Hu Yingying said impatiently. Several security guards were about to step forward. Ji Wufeng finally remembered the password and clicked the keys with his fingers. Credit card swiped successfully. Suddenly, the whole audience was in a state of confusion. "Damn, more than 1.8 million, just pay it like this." "Sir, please sign." Su Haiyue held the payment slip in her trembling hand and spoke with a pen. After Ji Wufeng signed, he turned to look at Hu Yingying and said coldly, "Is it time for you to fulfill your promise?" Hu Yingying's face turned green immediately. Although she was not a virtuous woman, she still couldn't bear the humiliation of running naked in public. "Humph, isn't 1.8 million a big deal? There are a lot of people who are richer and more powerful than you, so drive away quickly and don't cause trouble here." Hu Yingying glared. Ji Wufeng smiled coldly and said, "Are you trying to cheat?" Hu Yingying's face turned pale and she said, "So what, do you know where this place is? My boss is a junior high school student from Gaoxin State University. If you dare to cause trouble here, I'm afraid you will not end well." Ji Wufeng was angry and funny, and he actually wanted to use Gaoxingguo to suppress him. At this moment, a young man with oily hair and pink face walked in with his arms around a scantily clad woman, and asked angrily, "Ah, who is so awesome? I actually asked you to carry young Master Gao out." Seeing this young man, Hu Yingying's eyes lit up and she greeted him with a smile. "It turns out to be Mr. Lu. What kind of wind brought you here?" Mr. Lu glanced unscrupulously at Hu Yingying's plump body and said, "I know that Brother Gao has purchased a new batch of cars in the past 2 days, so I came here to take a look." Hu Yingying said quickly, "Young Master Lu, feel free to take a look. If you like the car, go ahead and try it out. If you are satisfied, you can drive it out for a spin." Mr. Lu glanced around, his eyes stopped on the A8, and said, "This is the one, this is the only one that can match my woman." The exposed woman next to him immediately had her eyes shining, hugged his waist, and whispered, "My dear, you are so kind to me." Hu Yingying immediately pointed to a shopping guide lady and said, "Go and get the key. Bring it here and let Mr. Lu test the car." "Wait." Ji Wufeng took a step forward and said, "This car is mine." "You're? With a bear like you, can you afford it?" The exposed woman's eyes were filled with contempt. Su Haiyue said, "Miss, this car has indeed been bought by this gentleman." Hu Yingying said to Su Haiyue with a cold face, "The car is still in the shop, and the formalities have not been completed, so the transaction has not been completed. Go and return the money to him." "I won't sell the car to him." Hearing this, Ji Wufeng was so angry that he almost laughed no matter how good his mood was. "What if I definitely want this car?" Ji Wufeng said in a deep voice. "Do you know who he is? He is LV Jichao, LV Xiao, and he is a brother to us, Gao Xiao. If you try to steal something from him, you don't need to first check what kind of person you are." Hu Yingying said with disdain. Ji Wufeng didn't know Lu Jichao, but he had heard of it. If the family power in Yulio was divided into a hierarchy, the 4 major families would be first-rate, the Gao family, Yu family, etc. would be second-rate, and the Lu family would be third-rate. "I don't care who he is, this car is already mine. No one can touch it without my permission." Ji Wufeng said. Lu Jichao got upset and walked over and asked, "Boy, who are you? He's so courageous, he even dares to grab the things I like." Hu Yingying looked at the signature on the POS payment slip and said disdainfully, "My name is Ji Wufeng. I've never heard of him. Mr. Liu, don't worry about him. I'll drive him away immediately." Ji Wufeng. Are you the prodigal son of Tianxian Group who is about to go bankrupt? Lu Jichao was stunned at first, and then said with contempt in his eyes, "I thought it was who was so angry. It turns out to be you, a loser. Get out of here right away. Don't bother me here, otherwise you will be able to see me later." My dear, is he Ji Wufeng, the eldest young master of Tianxian Group? The exposed woman next to Lu Jichao sneered, "He is really a loser. His family is going bankrupt, but he still has money to buy a car." After learning Ji Wufeng's identity, the group of shopping guide ladies immediately whispered to each other, their faces full of ridicule, but Hu Yingying's eyes lit up and she sneered, "I thought you were a big shot, but after doing it for a long time, you turned out to be a pauper who is about to go bankrupt but still wants to show off. Take the money and get out quickly, lest the time comes. Living on the streets picking up trash to eat." The mouse got angry, jumped up, pointed at Hu Yingying's nose and shouted, "Damn it, say it again if you dare." Hu Yingying was startled, took a step back, and said angrily, "Okay, you still want to hit someone here, come here, take care of him." Several security guards immediately gathered around, and Su Haiyue said quickly, "Manager Hu, after all, they are also guests, and they have paid. You can't treat them like this." Lu Jichao snorted coldly and said, "Just fight me. I'll go to Brother Gao and tell him. You're so arrogant when you steal things from me. I don't want to live anymore." With Lu Jichao's support, Hu Yingying was full of confidence. She pointed at Ji Wufeng and Moz and said to the security guards, "Hit me, beat me hard." There was a cold look in Ji Wufeng's eyes. "Damn it, if you spend 1 or 2 million to buy a car, shouldn't you be treated like an uncle? Now I have to be beaten, it's really unreasonable." At the same time, Gao Xingguo rushed to the 4S store. He had just come out of the hospital and was going to remove the plaster. Ji Wufeng said before that his broken hand was somewhat healed within a week, but he still didn't believe it. When he went to the hospital today, he almost frightened the doctor. His recovery speed was almost as fast as other people's in a month or two. The plaster can be completely removed. Gao Xingguo was shocked, but also in awe of Ji Wufeng. Ji Wufeng said he would come to pick up the car today. He rushed over immediately after leaving the hospital. He wanted to prepare in advance so that he could serve him well when the time came, and he did not dare to neglect at all.